Hello, my friends. You are listening to the Talking Cryptocurrency podcast. I'm your host, Jason Rigden. On this episode, we are talking to Dan Disa, co-founder of CoinMirror. They're making syndicated ICO investing easy. I gotta say that I'm really excited about CoinMirror. They really get it. These folks are giving us a glimpse in the future of ICO investing. I'm absolutely not getting paid to say any of this. This is from my heart. After you listen to this interview, go to the website and check them out. These guys are the future. They're pioneering the way ICO investing is going to be done someday. I really mean it. These guys are really cool. I really enjoyed this interview. But first, let's talk about getting you on this show. Are you doing something interesting with blockchain or cryptocurrency? Are you a developer, a blogger, or even maybe another podcaster? I want to talk to you. Are you an investor or an entrepreneur? I want to talk to you. This show will always need guests. I will always be looking for people who are making the cryptocurrency and blockchain revolution happen. If that sounds like you, please go to jasonrigden.com/guests. On that page, there'll be a little form. Tell me your name, your email address, and why you think you would be a good guest on the show, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. I would say there will never be a better chance to get on the show than right now. As the show grows, it will inevitably get harder and harder to get on as a guest. It's just a matter of supply and demand. So don't hesitate. Be brave, be bold, fill out that form, and you too could be the next guest on Talking Cryptocurrency. Hello, today I am with Dan Disa, co-founder of CoinMirror. Hello, Dan. How are you doing today?
I'm good, Jason. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, of course. So could you tell me a little bit about what problem your company is trying to solve?
Sure. So our problem is essentially that ICO investing has a lot of wonderful things that go with it. It's supposed to be about democratized access, and any amount of money that you can contribute is allowed, and all these wonderful ideals. The reality, though, is that as ICO investing becomes more professional, which is needed, the same barriers to entry that are around normal capital markets, raising money, will come up again. For example, you will need to have a large amount of money to get a good pre-sale discount. You might have to be a value-add investor with a great network in order for a company to want to work with you. All of these things that prevent us, the average Joe, from investing in a great venture capital deal are starting to come up in the ICO investing space. So what we want to do at CoinMirror is make sure that there's always, no matter what barriers come up, they're always surmountable by the people. That's what we're trying to do. Guarantee access to high quality, vetted ICO deals for people.
Okay. And how exactly are you doing that? I saw something about smart contracts, which always is intriguing.
Yes, of course. So what we're doing, we're solving this problem in a couple of ways. One, we enable people to pool money together, which solves this issue of you need to have a lot of money to unlock a discount. So we have we've enabled people to pool money together. And then what we're doing is creating a platform where on the other side of that equation, there are expert or quality ICO investors. These could be individuals like YouTube personalities. They could be organizations that are crypto funds or ICO incubators or accelerators. Or we even have certain teams that are ICOs themselves, but their business model is about sourcing other ICOs and helping them launch and go to market. So basically, we have these categories of experts on one side of the smart contract, so to speak, and then on the other side is the mom and pop or you and I retail investor who can put in X amount of money. Basically, how the smart contract works is that when your expert syndicate lead, as we call them, decides to invest in an ICO, they invest only their own money. And whatever percentage of their own money they put towards a specific ICO, our smart contract mirrors that, hence the name CoinMirror, mirrors that move with the pool, with the rest of our money. So that's how we're trying to solve this problem. The expert uses his expertise, of course, and then he gets the benefit when he's negotiating both for himself and for the group of a large sum of money, which is an important leverage in a negotiation.
Okay, so the syndicate lead would go into it kind of knowing how much money he was bringing to that ICO. So that person's money and also the followers are...
Yes, what we call backers.
Backers.
Yeah, backers. And actually, that's a very interesting point you brought up. A lot of the times an ICO team will give an allocation to a pool operator or something like that, which exists right now. But these pool operators then have to go out, or not even just pool operators, but also high quality investors. They have to go out and then fill that pool, that allocation. And if they don't, they lose the deal. One of the things that's very exciting about our platform and unique is that the money is essentially already there. So when they get an allocation, they can almost guarantee that they fill that allocation.
Okay, yeah. Okay, interesting. And would the leader necessarily need to be just an individual, or could a group do it? Or I was also thinking about like an AI or one of those like kind of algorithmic, maybe not trading, but an algorithm of some kind.
So it would be very interesting one day if an AI algorithm could do this like seriously entirely autonomously. Yeah. But for now, it is individuals. It can be groups, of course. It's rare that one person has all of the technical and business know-how to really vet an ICO. So there are definitely teams that are working on it. And as we said, crypto funds are also leading some syndicates as well.
Now, does the leader get like payment for this for the people that?
Yeah. So basically, what we've done is we're working on a business model where we don't take money from the pool or the syndicate lead, from the profit nor from the principal. We are more trying to go with the angle of a software license type fee, such that our software enables people to pool money together. And because you pooled money together, you can invest and get a pre-sale discount because you have this large amount of money. So what we do is we take a slice of that pre-sale discount and share that between the syndicate lead, ourselves, and the backers, essentially.
Okay. Interesting. So what have been some of the challenges of developing this product, this software?
Well, one major challenge is that we are not doing an ICO ourselves. Our entire business model is about cutting through the noise of all the ICOs out there. So it would be a little bit hypocritical to do an ICO ourselves, which means that we are bootstrapping and building everything ourselves without the ability to pay a lot of money for marketing. So marketing and brand awareness is a very difficult or a big challenge when you're bootstrapping your company completely, especially in the ICO space where many people are flush with a lot of cash. So that's one major problem. Another challenge we face is the technical aspects of building something, a decentralized application, essentially. Smart contracts are inherently locked into the blockchain. They're immutable. But when you're developing something in an industry that is still developing itself, you need to be able to iterate your software. So we've developed a very unique way to make upgradable smart contracts, which, from my research, less than 15 companies in the world are able to do that right now.
Oh, wow.
So the challenge is, how do we iterate and upgrade technology, which is supposed to be inherently immutable and fixed? That's one major challenge. The other challenge is financial limitations when it comes to building a community and a brand in an ecosystem that is mostly flush with cash and a lot of pay to play and corrupt practices, quite frankly.
It's pretty scary out there.
Yeah, it really is. And given my background, a little bit in venture capital, and Rick, one of my co-founders, background in traditional entrepreneurship, the challenge of bootstrapping and building a brand without paying for it is really where your bread is buttered. And I think that in general, the ecosystem will learn that the hard way. And I think that that's one of the things that this challenge actually turns into a strength for us at this stage.
Yeah, it's definitely been a difficulty with a lot of the smart contracts of their immutable nature, of being able to upgrade them when you find security problems, as we've seen a few times now. Yeah,
exactly right. So that's something that's a major challenge for us. Of a more interesting big picture challenge I could also mention is deal sourcing good quality deals. So the dream scenario here is, for example, a token called Trust there was an announcement about a week or two ago that Andreessen Horowitz had invested $20 million into Trust, and they were going to do an ICO with a pre-sale. And right now, that ICO, they've closed it off to only accredited SEC investors, which is a $200,000 minimum. So a major challenge for us is, how do we legally create a structure where we have KYC backers and syndicate leads that would allow us to, in theory, have mom and dad co-invest with Andreessen Horowitz into a great quality deal. So there's legal aspects that we need to solve, and we are. And there's also just the question of, would the ICO team even want a small little allocation from mom and pop, when in reality they could just fill that up with Union Square or Andreessen or some other big, fantastic venture capital fund. So these are other challenges that I think we have answers to, but they're definitely challenges.
Interesting. And so the ICOs that you're looking at, the syndicates are looking to invest in, are those all based on Ethereum? They'd be like the tokens that are on the Ethereum blockchain?
So for now, that is the way we're going with our MVP and our beta testing. I think 70 to 80% of ICOs that come to market are ERC20 or Ethereum, built on Ethereum. Mm-hmm. So we're obviously going to launch by attacking the biggest segment of the market. If things change, if EOS had worked or maybe figures it out, we can offer things down the road. But right now we're focused on Ethereum, and that's where we're going.
Okay. And is there going to be like any rating system for the leaders, or will you just kind of be able to see by how they performed?
So this is a very good question. What we're working to do, what we'd like to do, there's a very interesting company in New York that I'm working on potentially partnering with that offers really fantastic insights from scraping the blockchain for data. Okay. So we could, in theory, offer an analysis. We could verify that the syndicate lead and his associated wallet addresses did actually invest in the past in these ICOs. So we could prove his track record that or he or she claims to have. That's something that we want to implement. The other thing is we want to build, this is in our roadmap, but we want to build a community where people can essentially upvote or something like that, where the community is vetting the results that a syndicate lead brings to the table. Mm-hmm. That's the direction we want to go in.
Okay. Yeah. So, because some people, you just do it by the short-term gains, it may not be really what some investors want. They might want more long-term performance.
Exactly. And that's another thing. That's definitely another thing that, so I think as it professionalizes more, the earlier you are in the pre-sale, the longer the lockup periods will be for token holders at an early stage, which will help in this situation. But you're right. Everyone has different investment horizons, and it's important that, therefore they read the details of what their syndicate lead is proposing.
Yes. Yeah. And so how do you become one of these syndicate leads?
So, this is a big question. So it's very easy actually to become a syndicate lead. You could just go to CoinMirror, write about what your profile is, share your thesis and the kinds of things you're interested in, and you can create a syndicate. The question is, will people back that syndicate? And that's where your personal brand or your reputation comes into play. What we don't want to do is personally vet the syndicates too much. We want to have the platform open and accessible to anyone, and let their performance and the community that votes on them essentially speak for itself.
Yeah, because you're really just trying to open up the ICO space to more people and getting maybe more guidance.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. You can try to reduce the risk and get some guidance and expertise for the retail investor who may have some Bitcoin or some Ether and something like that and wants to now move it to the next level.
Yeah, but can't spend like 8 hours a day researching every ICO to figure out where they should be putting their money.
Let alone like researching the ICO, but then understanding the token economics of something that actually makes sense, and then diving into the due diligence of a team and all these things. Nobody really has time for that, which is why the industry will become more professional. And that's what we want to avoid, is that it becomes so professional that you and I don't have a chance.
Yes, totally. So what are some of your plans for the future?
So let me just pull up. Give me one moment. I can pull up this roadmap that I've developed. So where we are today, we have a private beta that's been available for a small group of people for about a month and a half now. What we've solved is the smart contract upgradability. Down the road, what we need to do very soon is integrate a KYC solution for all of our syndicate leads and the backers. This is absolutely critical as a standard that will be needed in the industry. So we want to integrate the KYC. The other thing that we're working on is we get a lot of inbound traffic from ICOs looking to obviously find money for their projects. What we are doing is building a matchmaking platform essentially where the syndicate leads can source deals for themselves and share information amongst themselves about what's going on. So perhaps a family office in Hong Kong has an interesting deal and they want to find someone to share their allocation with, they can, on the matchmaking side of the platform, there's a lot of information and a lot of exciting opportunities that we want to build out there as well. Further down the road, we're looking to integrate the blockchain analytics that I mentioned in terms of rating the ICOs, also in terms of analyzing exactly the inflows and outflows to a certain ICO. That's a very interesting thing. We would also, in theory, be able to tell our syndicate leads when, so let's say, the top 50 ICO investors, however you want to quantify or measure that, deploy money from any of their wallets. We could trigger a signal and let our syndicate leads know, hey, something's going on, something to check it out. Mm-hmm. These kind of analytics you want to have. We'd love to develop partnerships with ICO review services, not like an ICO bench type thing, but like a actual high quality ICO review service. Names that come to mind would be Smith and Crown, that are objectively doing good work. There's an interesting company in Switzerland that's starting to launch as well. So these kinds of ICO review services, our goal is to provide as much enriched content for both the backer and the syndicate lead on the platform. We believe that with education and access, that's how we solve the problem of fulfilling the idea of democratized investing.
Yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, I got to say that most of the people that I talk to in this space of cryptocurrency and blockchain, they kind of avoid the KYC rules like kryptonite. Yeah. So it's very encouraging to hear you so openly talk about it and have that be on top of mind and not something that's
definitely
we don't want to talk about it.
Quite frankly, I think that if you're not thinking about KYC, you have a very, very short-term view, because there's no way that any regulatory body in the world will allow people, in theory, to be separated from 100% of their life savings. That's their job, is to make sure that everyone invests responsibly with a certain percentage that is not going to bankrupt them. And the idea that you can do that completely without any KYC, I think, is wrong.
I totally agree.
Yeah. So, and I think that anyone who doesn't have that in their roadmap or isn't thinking about it seriously will have a lot of trouble down the road, to say the least.
Yeah, well, I definitely thank you. So is there anything that I should have asked you that maybe I missed?
I think we could talk more about some of the big picture issues that face the ICO investing industry. What I find interesting is basically we're already seeing, like, you could look at Telegram, for example. The best quality deals are not even open to the public anymore. We probably don't even hear about them, and people are going around with investing in ICOs that are not, have a much higher chance of failure than others. I'll put it that way.
Yes.
And my biggest concern is we're building this platform, and I want to make sure that my mother, in theory, could co-invest with Andreessen Horowitz. How do we convince ICO teams that they should intentionally, in one way, leave money on the table, leave aside an allocation for the people, and not just grab money from a big name in order to fulfill the promise of democratized investing? And this is something that I'm wrestling with. The idea, the ethos in my mind about the crypto and blockchain world is about democratization and about access. Yet, when it comes to like being a rational businessman or businesswoman who's leading an ICO team, you're asking them to turn down money from big names in order to fulfill this utopian ideal of access. And this is something that is going to take a lot of messaging and marketing and hopefully like-minded people who are thinking in the same way as me. This is something that I'm very concerned about.
Yeah, it is strange how the market has changed so much in just 1 year. When you think about last summer, it was such a wild, crazy place, and the flavor has definitely changed this year.
Oh, for sure. And I think it will continue down this road. And I'm hoping that CoinMirror can kind of be like a fork in that road that lets it be professional, but still maintains those ideals.
Yeah, it sounds like it. I mean, you guys, you've got a good plan, and you're not afraid to talk about the hard subjects.
Nope, definitely not. Lots of hard subjects.
Yes. Well, it's a very complicated space, even just beyond, the new paradigm of the blockchain and the smart
Mhm.
contracts, and computer programming is its own other thing. But you've got
Yeah,
all the financial regulations. It is such a huge, huge space.
exactly. And this, and then and as I said, yeah, you have all of these, many more hard things than easy things
Yeah.
for sure. And you add all those things together, and then you don't forget to add in this, what I was talking about, that you need to basically convince a businessman or team that they need to leave money for fulfilling this ideal, this promise, and that's also a very difficult thing. Let alone then you add in the whole consumer education aspect about what the hell is the blockchain and cryptocurrencies, and I'm buying a token that doesn't give me any rights to the company, and so you have that whole problem as well. So yeah, lots to do.
Yeah. All right. Well, it was fantastic talking to you. Thank you so much for your time. I'll have all the details in the show notes. And
Okay.
I wish you a lot of luck. I'm fascinated by this project, so I definitely will be telling people about it wherever I can.
Awesome. I really appreciate it, Jason. Thank you again
Right.
for your time too.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Dan, for coming on the show. Thanks for introducing us to CoinMirror. I think it's a great idea. The ICO dream is alive and well and still evolving. I think we'll hear big things from CoinMirror in the future. If you want to check them out, and you should, the links are going to be in the show notes. Before we end the show, I'm required by law to ask you to review the show on Apple Podcasts. But seriously, those reviews really do help. When a guest is looking to come on the show, one of the first things they do is check the ratings and reviews of that show. Those reviews show that I have an active and engaged audience, so please give me a hand and review the show on Apple Podcasts. You've been listening to the Talking Cryptocurrency podcast. My name is Jason Rigden, and I've been your host. Thank you so much for listening, and have a great day.